There's been a lot of talk in the Tarkov community, including from myself recently, about guns and ammo and what's broken and what needs to be tinkered. And that's understandable because we all want the game to be fun and fair and feel balanced. And in this video, we're talking about a caliber that I feel like might be the most balanced caliber in Escape from Tarkov. And we can look at that and talk about why it feels that way and maybe hopefully point some changes in that direction as well. I'm Jessekazam. Welcome back to another Escape from Tarkov video. I stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. And before we dive into the video, I want to thank the sponsor for this video, Juju. Juju is an energy formula designed specifically for gamers to increase reaction time, energy, and focus, all without providing any sort of hard crashes at the end. They have a ton of really unique flavors that are all really, really good. Blue raspberry is my favorite. I've really enjoyed working with these guys. This stuff really works, and we've had some awesome response from the community, from all you guys that have tried it out. So if something like that interests you, you can use code Jessekazam at checkout using the link below. But with all that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and dive in. So in this video, we are talking about 7.62 by 3.9. This caliber is one of the calibers that's been in Escape from Tarkov the longest. Things like the SKS have been in the game for absolutely forever. And this just kind of came to mind as we've been talking about guns like the Vector and the HK and guns that a lot of the community agree that we might need to balance, but not a whole lot of people agree on necessarily how, which is understandable. Game development is complicated, and I don't claim to know how. I post some ideas in my Vector video, but I'm very, very willing to admit that if I'm wrong or to be proven otherwise. It's not about how, but when I was thinking about that, I was just thinking about 7.62 as a caliber, and as a caliber that feels pretty balanced. So, you know, what are the important things in Escape from Tarkov, especially when it comes to a gun feeling balanced or not? It's the ammo. Is the ammo, you know, really, really good? What's the price of the ammo? What are the stats of the guns that use that ammo? Like the recoil and stuff like that, and then how available are all those things, the ammo, the guns, and stuff like that. So the 7.62 has kind of always felt this way, where it's not meta. It's always better to use an HK. A lot of people still use them and like it because it hits hard, but it feels like you have to work for your kills. It feels like you have to earn it. It feels rewarding to use this caliber. So we can start by talking about the ammo. You know, 7.62, the basically the only two rounds in the game effectively, because these are the only ones used, is 7.62 PS, which you can get day one of the wipe, has 32 pen and 57 damage. This thing hits like a truck on day one of the wipe. 32 pen. It's like if you come across anybody with armor, this is probably going to shred it, especially if somehow they got a face shield. This is probably going to pen it. It's a great day one. And then once we get farther into the wipe, everybody looks to 7.62 BP, which has 47 pen and 58 damage. So on paper, this round is insane because it's got more pen than something like 5.5A1 and more damage than something like 5.5A1. So this thing absolutely destroys. Now, what you have to do is pair that with some of these guns, and as we'll see in a second, they might have a slower fire rate, which makes, or a higher recoil control, which makes these rounds a little bit less common, even though on paper they hit really well. PS you can buy from level 1 for cheap, but they're all over the flea market. BP, for a round this good, is in my opinion very affordable. Like Prop War has 300,000 in stock right now for 1,000 rubles a round. In the current, at least meta and economy, that's really not bad, especially people are paying 3,000 rubles a round for SS190 or something like that off the flea market when they run out, or 3,000 rubles around for APSX. 7.62 BP for 1,000 rubles around isn't bad, and then you can often find people that, you know, sell it below or even above. It's not like it's not like one of those calibers where it's 1,000, but then it's the next listing is 3,000, and this guy's selling 2,100. So it seems pretty affordable. Now, once again, on paper, these rounds are amazing. Why aren't they used? Well, let's take a look at the two absolute meta, just like dripping meta 7.62 guns. So the AKM was the old meta. They changed this stuff around a lot. I don't even know why they changed the 7.62 caliber, because it was never so overpowered in my opinion. But let's take a look at the stats of these guns. 71 vertical recoil and 66 vertical recoil. So the 103 is the AK 100 series that shoots the 7.62. Almost identical builds. Like it's really just the buttstock that changes. And then the the stats. I think the base stats are a tiny better. This butt stack's a tiny better. And then that ends up being 5 less vertical recoil. They both have great ergo. They both have a decent, horizontal kick as well. And they both shoot a little bit slower. So 600 rounds per minute. And that can often be why these guns aren't utilized as much. The combination of the higher vertical recoil and the lower fire rate. You click on something like an HK, which this HK in particular has 44 recoil and 850 rounds per minute. This other HK I have has 37 vertical recoil, 850 rounds per minute. So I think it's pretty easy to see why they're a little bit less utilized. But once again, this isn't a video about the HK as it, compares to these guns. It's that these guns feel like an ecosystem that's relatively balanced. You have this round that hits really, really hard for flesh damage, hits really, really hard for pen, is available to the community. It's not insanely expensive, but if you're going to use it, you kind of have to work for it. So we can take these into the hideout and just quickly see how it feels to like full auto these guns. These are guns that this is the type of thing where it makes you think while you're playing. At a certain range, should I be single tapping or should I be mag dumping? Because close, I might be able to hit it, but far away, I'm a little all over the place. And so that was the 103, which is like the meta, and then this is the AKM. And that's not me compensating for any recoil or anything like that. That's just basically just holding down mouse 1. But as you can see, this is something that makes you think. If you're close enough, you know what I mean? You're definitely going to be able to hit your shots. But if you're far enough away, you might want to be single tapping, and the low fire rate of the gun helps you do that. So at the end of the day, this is probably not going to convince anybody to run out and go spend their money on an AK-103 or an AKM, because like I'm saying, fundamentally, if you're trying to min-max, there's no reason to use these guns. When M4s exist, when Vectors exist with 7 and 31, when HKs exist, there really isn't a reason. But I talked about it in my Vector video where we shouldn't break everything around broken things to make those things feel less broken. We should look for examples of things that work well. And in my opinion, the 7.62 caliber and the guns associated work well. There's a round that hits hard that's relatively available, and if you want to go on a budget, you can grab an SKS and a PSO and absolutely annihilate people because it's a good round. You can invest in the best round available and then just keep the extra ammo in your Gamma or your Alpha container and rock with this. You can go, like, this is almost like the TX15 version of 7.62. You can go just super Gucci'd out on a semi-auto something with a really nice optic. You can bring the ergo up, bring the recoil down compared to like an OPSKS, and really try and get those nice single taps DMR style. You can get a full auto, basically, quote unquote meta AR style gun, AK, where you're, mag dumping. There's 50 round mags associated with these weapons. There's all sorts of attachments. You can build them how you want, and nothing feels overpowered. It's not like anyone's going to call the SKS overpowered, and nobody's calling the AK-103 or the AKM overpowered. They're still used somewhat because a lot of people just really like this round, but this to me feels like something that we can look for, that we can push some of the other calibers for, where there's a trade-off depending on what you're doing. If you want to shoot this full auto, there's a trade-off. This recoil is a bit higher. You have to work and be thinking about what situation you're in to decide whether you should be mag dumping, whether you should be single tapping. So it feels like we don't have that trade-off with some of the other guns, with the Vector, with the HK, with some of this other stuff, with the ability to buy M61s for N308 MDRs and stuff like that. We don't have to have that trade-off. We get the whole package. We get the high ergo, low recoil, relatively available. 5.5A1 is relatively available, high capacity mags. We get the whole package, and there's no reason to really use anything else. So This video isn't, me calling Battlestate Games to do anything specific. I'm not in contact with them. And it's really not me telling you to go out and use these guns. I would recommend it. I would say give it a try because these guns feel rewarding. But at the end of the day, if you find yourself just rolling back to your HK, that's understandable. I think I really just wanted to kind of point out that there are some examples in the game right now of something that, at least as far as I can see, feel good, feel balanced, feel fun, feel worth using, but not overpowered, feel like there's trade-offs depending on how you want to use it. And this is the kind of stuff I want more in Escape from Tarkov. I would love to see a world where, ADARs and TX-15s are actually like really valid end game, because the meta HK has 63 vertical recoil, or 12 ergonomics, or even less than that because it's heavy and long or something like that. So now it's like, well, if you're not a mag dump kind of guy, grab an ADAR or a TX-15, and that's worth using because you can single tap with those guns, just like people use SKSs instead of these. So those are my thoughts. Nothing really in this video. I'm not talking about a specific build. I'm not talking about if it's a good budget gun or a meta gun. This is really just kind of pointing out how this ecosystem of 7.62 works, how it's fun to use and rewarding to use, and maybe encourage you to go try out some of these guns and let me know what you think in the comments below, and hopefully just have more fun and get more value out of your raids in Escape from Tarkov. Thank you as always for taking the time to check out this video. If you like this video, think about dropping a like, commenting down below, or subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Like we said before, I stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. And if you're looking for people to play with, our Discord community is an awesome place to be. That link is down below as well. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.